Hello, dear viewers, and welcome to Star Scandal Spotlight. Today, we're diving into a story that's got everyone talking, a tale of love, heartbreak, and an emotional twist no one saw coming. Broken Mirror Mended. Lee Min-ho knelt down and said to Song Hye-kyo, "I can't live without you." What really happened between these two stars? Could this be the beginning of a long-awaited reunion? Stay with us and find out. All the drama, all the emotion, coming up right now. The world thought their story was over, that whatever spark once lit up the screen, and their private lives, had long burned out. But then came the twist no one expected. A tearful reunion, a trembling confession, and a moment that has left fans in awe, disbelief, and raw emotion. It all began last week, behind the glittering curtains of the Asian Film and Arts Gala in Singapore. The red carpet buzzed with the usual glamour, flashes, gowns, rehearsed smiles, but when Lee Min-ho stepped out of the limousine, alone, eyes scanning the crowd like he was chasing a ghost, something felt different. Inside, the air crackled with tension. Song Hye-kyo, elegant in an off-shoulder black dress, stood near the stage. Her usual grace was intact, but close observers noticed the stiffness in her posture, the way her eyes darted toward the entrance. She didn't know he would come. Not really, not after all this time. They hadn't spoken in over 2 years. Not since their quiet breakup that left both camps denying any serious relationship. But insiders whispered otherwise. A short-lived but intense romance that began after a commercial shoot in Jeju Island had buried under career obligations and public scrutiny. No closure, no goodbye. Just silence, until now. Halfway through the ceremony, just as the host was announcing the next award, a murmur spread through the crowd. Lee Min-ho was no longer in his seat. Cameras struggled to locate him until a hushed scream echoed from the side of the stage. He had walked up, uninvited, and stood facing Song Hye-kyo. The entire hall froze. At first, she looked confused, then her lips parted slightly, as if recognizing something she had been trying to forget. The spotlight hit them both, unintentionally turning the moment into a surreal stage. And then, he did it. Lee Min-ho fell to his knees. Gasps erupted. A-list actors, veteran directors, rookie idols, none of them had seen anything like this. He didn't care about the crowd. His voice trembled, cracked, loud enough for those close to hear. "I can't live without you. I tried. I failed. If there's still a part of you that remembers us, please come back to me." The cameras were too stunned to cut away. For a few agonizing seconds, Song Hye-kyo stood frozen, hand over her mouth. No one knew what would happen next. Then, the tears came. She stepped forward slowly, eyes locked with his. The silence in the hall was almost sacred. And then she whispered something, inaudible to the crowd, but her hands reached down to lift him up. The image of Lee Min-ho rising slowly, guided by the woman he once loved, and maybe never stopped loving, has since gone viral, sending social media into meltdown. Min-ho reunion trended in over 38 countries within minutes. Fans flooded forums with theories, flashbacks, and old interviews where both stars had hinted at a love they could never quite explain. One post read, "This is better than any drama they've ever acted in." But what followed was even more shocking. That night, the couple was seen leaving together in a private vehicle. No stylists, no managers. Just them. Paparazzi lenses caught a fleeting moment, their hands interlocked, their faces close, almost as if the world didn't exist. And the next morning, an anonymous insider leaked a message allegedly from Lee Min-ho's stylist team. "He's been planning this for weeks. Didn't want to make a spectacle, but he had to try, even if it meant humiliation. He told us, if she walks away, I'll respect it. But I need her to know. I need her to hear me say it." Public reactions have ranged from elation to cautious skepticism. Some believe this is a publicity stunt. Others insist it's genuine love in its rawest form. Regardless, one thing is certain. Lee Min-ho and Song Hye-kyo's story isn't over. The moment Lee Min-ho dropped to his knees and confessed his undying love for Song Hye-kyo is still echoing across the entertainment world. But while the audience saw the stunning surface of a romantic miracle, what happened after the cameras stopped trolling has sparked even more curiosity. speculation, and heart-stopping revelations. Backstage, chaos reigned. Security was caught between confusion and panic. Event organizers debated whether to escort the pair out discreetly or let them be, but both Lee Min-ho and Song Hye-kyo refused assistance. According to multiple eyewitnesses, two walked into a private VIP lounge, closed the door, and didn't come out for nearly an hour. Happened inside that room. One insider, speaking anonymously, described the atmosphere as explosive, emotional, and raw beyond words. According to their account, who broke into tears almost instantly. Lee Min-ho reportedly collapsed onto the couch, overwhelmed, and Song Hye-kyo stood in front of him, hands trembling as she tried to speak through her sobs. Now, she asked him, why after everything? After all this time? Lee's answer, as relayed by the source, was chilling in its vulnerability. Because I finally admitted I was a coward. I left when I should have stayed. I let my career talk louder than my heart. I can't undo it, but I can ask for one more chance. No yelling, no anger. Just pain. A pain so deep it had waited in silence for over 2 years, until one moment of courage broke it wide open. Followed was even more unexpected. According to that same source, Lee Min-ho pulled something from his jacket, a small, worn leather bracelet. It was reportedly the last gift Song Hye-kyo gave him before their separation, one he had kept all this time. Placed it on the table and said, I thought I lost you, but it turns out, I never took you off. At that moment, something shifted. Song Hye-kyo, who had remained emotionally guarded since their breakup, finally let herself break. She sat beside him, leaned in, and for the first time in years, rested her head on his shoulder. When they finally left the room, their faces were red from tears, but their hands were entwined. Not for the cameras, but for each other. They exited quietly through a side door, avoiding the media frenzy that had gathered out front. Yet one paparazzo caught a blurry but unmistakable shot of the couple inside a black van, Song Hye-kyo's head resting on Lee Min-ho's shoulder, eyes closed, his arm protectively wrapped around her. By morning, Korea was awake and breathless. Outlets scrambled to confirm if the two were officially back together. Agencies from both sides declined to comment, fueling even more speculation. But just before noon, Lee Min-ho broke his silence with a cryptic post on his personal Instagram. Sometimes, love takes the long road home. Within minutes, Song Hye-kyo's account posted a photo of a familiar leather bracelet resting on a table beside 2 coffee mugs, captioned with nothing but a single red heart. That was all it took. Internet erupted. Fans screamed. Critics speculated. Her co-stars chimed in with subtle nods. Park Shin-hye simply posted, finally, while Jo In-sung liked both posts without a word. Top-tier media outlets were caught off guard. A headline from K-Star Daily read, "This is not a drama, it's real life, and it's breaking our hearts in the best way possible." Perhaps the most touching response came from a veteran director who had worked with both actors. You can rehearse 1,000 love scenes. True love? It writes itself. What happened last night, that was the script of the soul. What's next for the couple? No one knows. But one thing is crystal clear, the mirror may have once shattered, but now, against all odds, it has been mended. And sometimes, the cracks are where the light gets